Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Survival Work Podcast. I'm your host, Colin Conners. With me, as always, is my wonderful co-host, Patrick Sullivan. Patrick, say hello to everybody.
Sup?
I also have with us the awesome Stephen Lehman,
Oh, I'm awesome. I feel special.
and a transfer from Survivor Oz, the one, the only, Michael Allbright.
What up, everybody? BigMike in the house.
So, guys, let's jump right into it. Patrick, what did you think of tonight's episode?
I don't know. I mean, it's consistent with the season. It wasn't good or bad. So yeah. I don't have
Michael, what about you?
They were selling. I mean, the edit looked like it was gonna be Sarah. Talks too much and gets knocked out, and to see Caleb go, I was a little surprised. It's nice to be surprised once in a while on the show. I liked it.
Well, it seems to me that this show has been, or this season rather, has been just really steadfast on going against our expectations. They were editing up the Aris and Vetus rivalry, and then Aris got cut out. They've been just doing tons of kind of false edits this entire time, and I think tonight was a great example of that. Steven, what was your impression?
Like it's been said, I was surprised that Caleb was ousted. But I guess we'll get more into that as the episode discussion goes on. The edit this season has been sort of strange with the whole hyping up all these storylines that don't really go anywhere. We had the Aris Vetus rivalry, which only lasted for a grand total of one challenge. Island. It's interesting to see how the editors are shaping the season up.
Well, like I said at the end of last week if Caleb starts getting visible again, this is his boot episode. Because his whole story arc ended, episode 3 when they ousted Culpepper? Brad, not Monica, of course. And then he just became invisible this entire time. Shows up this episode, it's like, oh, yeah, he's probably done.
Well, I didn't think he was that super visual this episode. If anything, it kind of relied more on Hayden. Michael, what do you think about that?
Yeah, the focal point was on Hayden, and it's such a different game Hayden played before with Big Brother. Watching how he just couldn't even. I thought he was a horrible liar when he was trying, not really lying, but trying to tell Tyson from his perspective. So it's neat. It's weird seeing him in the driver's seat because I think Caleb's a better strategist than Hayden.
Mm-hmm.
Caleb's quiet. He's he just seems a lot more reserved, and he normally wouldn't get on Survivor unless, I guess you have to date Colton to get on Survivor with that person.
Yeah, without Colton, he's not on there at all. So.
Yeah, and so I guess maybe he's just he doesn't give good sound bites, any good confessionals or anything. He just had that one shocking thing, and then he was invisible. But then, I mean, he was still more visible than the past 6 episodes on this one alone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, before we get too far into the whole Caleb discussion, I want to take us all the way back to the beginning of the episode. Well, not really the beginning. Let's talk about Redemption Island and the Redemption Island arena. Vetus is out of the game, someone who I thought was getting a spectacularly good edit. And not only did he lose the duel, but Tina also helped Monica whip the challenge. I'm sorry,
Laura helped.
Laura M actually helped Tina with the challenge, which I was flabbergasted by that. Michael, do you have any insight on why Laura did that?
They don't, and to my knowledge, I go around to these charity events, and I have because Laura doesn't go, and Tina has been to a bunch of them. I don't know what that bond, if it was just moms getting together against Baskuskuses, because it was just, I don't know that connection. They probably just linked up because they knew he was a big threat physically, and they wanted to get rid of him.
Yeah. Would you rather go against another mom or a really strong dude who does yoga and is good at this kind of stuff? I mean, they got a chance to knock him out, and they did. That was smart.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good strategic move. It was just kind of out of left field from knowing a lot of the pregame, kind of like how close some people are. It was really strange because Tina's really close to Aris outside the game, but she's a smart player though.
It didn't shock me because I thought it was the logical thing to do. And maybe they had that bonding time on Redemption Island, both being moms with their daughters still in the game. They're the 2 moms and the daughters and everything, but it made a lot of sense strategically.
Well, something else I want to bring up about this is kind of like the moral side of it. The episode Kat got booted. Kat refused to look at someone else's puzzle and it cost her her shot in the game. And this time around, we had someone helping another person win in extreme detail. It wasn't just, hey, move that one block, one thing. Laura was giving Tina detailed instructions on how to do it. Is that fair game on Redemption Island?
It's completely a fair game. I mean, let's be real here. Kat didn't not look at, the puzzle because it was an ethical thing to do. She looked at the puzzle, couldn't figure it out, and probably used the ethics as an excuse. We've had people help others on Redemption Island before, where everyone tried to help Cochran against Ozzy and Edna against Ozzy back in South Pacific. So the only thing I took away from this was that it was more of a detailed help as opposed to a broader one. And I think it's completely fair game.
Hey, everything's fair in Survivor. If they didn't want them to look, they would have put dividers up between them or something.
Yeah, and Laura was in the middle as well, so it wasn't like, it was easier for Tina to look her way than Vitas.
Mm-hmm. Well, is this going to set up a precedent now of Tina and Laura helping each other, you think? Michael, what do you think?
I think it depends on who else goes. Once Katie's there, if Katie gets to Redemption Island, then she's going to, if it was Tina would help her, and I think they'd help each other's siblings or children versus, I think it's going to play into the dynamics that exist already.
Mm-hmm. Well, are they going to go work together to take out Caleb?
I would imagine because they would. I think it's going to be a, girl power kind of deal. The MILF versus the rest.
if they get that opportunity, it depends on the challenge. It could be something like that Domino one or something where you can't really help someone.
Yeah, it depends on the challenge, definitely. But it's that whole point of view. If it's right or wrong ethically, the Obi-Wan conundrum is, that's basically a bold-faced lie. But for Vitas, it's that's total bullcrap that you're not helping me. But for the girls, it's like, why do I have to help you? Look at their puzzle figured out. So.
Mm-hmm.
Who said anything about bringing ethics into Survivor anyways?
Yeah, really.
The Pagong tribe.
look where that got them.
Yep.
Well, I think,
Well, it got Jervis a second shot, so.
Yeah,
that's that over into season 2 with Tina's strategy. Sorry, Monica, you're 5th. She's just being ethical.
So let's move on a little bit.
Tina's gone crazy.
Yeah, hashtag Tina's gone crazy. Laura wins, gives Sierra the clue. C burns it because no one gives a shit about clues this season.
And production is fuming.
Production is fuming. At least this time we didn't get a monologue from Jeff Probst like, this is so important. Please, for the love of God, keep it, please.
It's
please
an individual game now.
It's an individual game.
You can sense the sadness and desperation in his voice.
Well, I guess it doesn't matter because Tyson already found it and should knew that, but still, I guess it adds an element of, well, does she have the idol? Does she not? We split the votes or whatever. Who knows? But
Michael, I would love to get your impression about the burning of the clues and Jeff's kind of reaction to people burning it.
I love how much it pisses off Probst. It makes Survivor, the whole production team, mad. And I think some next level thing, if there's multiple Blood versus Water, if Redemption Island sticks around, someone's going to do a fake clue and bring it with them, and they'll anticipate their loved one giving them the clue, and they'll burn a fake clue and sleight of hand the real clue to themselves so they get an idol. That's what I foresee in the future.
No, you know what they'll do is they're going to take away the urn so there's no possibility of burning.
They'll be like, bury your buff in the sand.
Yeah.
Which it will be equivalent to nothing on the show. Yeah, bury it.
On your way out, eat your buff.
Yeah.
As the only way to combat this. So we get back to camp, and Hayden and Caleb go, Katie, we got to get out Tyson because Tyson's in control. Then they go up to Sierra, and they're like, okay, Tyson's in control. Let's be a Final Four. And I was like, oh my God, this is going to be such an amazing thing. Tyson's going to be out. Tyson seems to be running the show. And then Sierra runs her mouth. Patrick, what did you make of that? How could Sierra possibly think?
That was so stupid, because if you think about it, though, that gives her a 1 in 4 shot, a better shot with those people at winning versus, the Tyson, Jervis. And, they've seen the returning players dominate on seasons where it's mixed in the final tribal council, with the exception of Coach, because he was awful.
And Denise, but because Scoop was awful.
Denise was just that awesome. But, and then Katie, either way, she could have Katie at Final Four. basically guaranteeing herself in the final three with two people that she would rather be sitting with than the people that have been running the show the entire time.
I mean, realistically, for Sierra, if she had gone with Caleb, Hayden, and Katie, I think if she had been in the final two or final three with Hayden and Caleb, it was a pretty easy. It could be a pretty easy sell. Where Hayden's already won something before, and Caleb's related to Colton, and I mean, not that I know if Sierra would necessarily pull that card, but if Sierra wanted to cash in on the negativity.
Well, they did mention that for some reason Caleb was a threat to win because everyone liked him.
Right, and we had never seen that.
But I think Sierra could easily make the argument like, hey, I voted out my mom, I'm here to play the game.
Yeah.
I think Sierra against Hayden or Caleb doesn't necessarily easily win, but I think she has a much better shot at it.
Absolutely.
Michael, what do you think?
Her reasoning was so stupid. Like, I don't want to play with these people because it's so wishy-washy or whatever. Because they're the new players. Like, that's so fucking stupid. Sorry.
Yeah, Michael, I want to hear your thoughts on it.
I just don't. I don't get it. I don't know why she wouldn't go with the new people, and it just proves if there's ever at least half old and half new, the new people will get demolished every time because I think they're just going to keep, infighting, and the returners are just going to be the final people because new people just don't get it, and I don't know why. I don't know why she did it. I don't know. I would not have done that if I had been out there. I would have wanted to target these people that have played. Like Tyson, this is his third time around. He knows what he's doing, and they could have gotten rid of him. They don't even know he has an idol, but they could have gotten rid of him. So, I think it's bad gameplay.
Yeah, I think it's horrendous gameplay, and I mean Sierra made such a good move last week. She was able to vote out her mom and still kind of be with the group, and she was smart enough to realize that hey, my mom's getting voted out either way, and she jumped on that bandwagon. I don't know why she thinks she could possibly benefit from this, and I guess that's what I'm trying to figure out, and that's the big question we're all trying to figure out.
Not only that, is that also put her ass on the chopping block because they went from wanting to vote Tyson out to like, I guess, agreeing on her, so she could have gotten voted out tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the big thing about that was her and Tyson going to Treevale together.
Yeah.
Which is dangerous. They're going to be watching that. It's like on a online Survivor. If you see two people sign on Skype at the exact same time, you're like, oh shit, that's you just don't do that. You don't walk off to Treevale alone with someone that you're telling people you're gonna vote off.
Yeah. Well, something else I want to talk about was how Hayden and Caleb both seem to have great instincts because they're like, hey, Sierra's acting slightly funny, and they were smart enough to realize the writing is on the wall, and they did their best to actually flip it. I mean, how often have you seen Survivor players just walk into something without any clue, and yet, even though it didn't work out for Hayden and Caleb, at least they had some idea that it would happen?
I think Hayden benefited from the fact that he had someone else to bounce his ideas off of, because as much as I think Hayden is not a horrible player, I don't know if he would have had the strategic aptitude to figure that out on his own. So the fact that he had someone who sort of, I guess, may have had a better idea as to what's going on. And I also think it spoke volumes that the returnees chose to target Caleb over Hayden, because if you're going from a strictly strength standpoint, you'd probably want to target Hayden over, Caleb.
Yeah.
So,
Michael, what do you make of the Hayden and Caleb dynamic and the fact that they were both smart enough to see that Sierra was no longer with them?
It's an interesting, I think Hayden's a doer and Caleb's a thinker, and it is a weird combination that I'm, just being in the circuit, I'm not familiar with them that socially, but I guess Kat and Colton are close, so I guess it makes sense that they would have a bond, that they probably knew each other before they came in. They just really played it low key. But I think it's an interesting dynamic, and it wouldn't be somebody I would, from watching, Hayden's other reality show. It's not a natural connection, but it's something cool you see on Survivor. It reminds me of those old, what was it, like Pappy and Sean and Marquesas and Brandon and Frank in Africa, just who you have to work with, and Survivor makes these interesting bonds.
Well, I feel like if this was a non-returning player season, Hayden and Caleb could dominate. Patrick, what do you think?
Yeah. They could have dominated this season if Sierra wasn't stupid.
If Sierra didn't just ruin her game. Well, that's the thing, is Sierra going to make it to the final three now? Yes or no? Patrick?
Wait, let me think about it. Because you've got... I don't think so. No, they think she's too smart. And if it continues Tyson running this shit, they're going to take Monica.
Mm-hmm. Steven, what do you think?
As much as I love her because I picked her to win, I don't see her going to the end now, and it's sad.
Michael, does Sierra have any shot to get to the end?
Barring immunity, I think she's going to be out pretty quick. She'll probably outlast Hayden, but Katie, but she's gone.
The thing is, I guess we can all discount Katie for getting it.
Yeah, well, Katie's edit, I think, gives away that
but
She's
not.
She's the only other person in there who's got a loved one in the jury that can get votes for her and try to campaign for her. Ponderosa, and so I think they're going to be looking at jury votes, and she's not going to make it unless, for some reason, she gets immunity. And they'd rather take someone like Monica unless she continues to immunity whore her way and be like, I outplayed all you guys.
Can I just say, I love that Monica's been this season's immunity mannequin. Like, she's just like, she's like the model on Project Runway, and the task is to like have an immunity necklace, and she's just, she's making it work.
Yeah, I saw this challenge immediately, and I was like, oh, Monica's going to win this one.
Well, it is interesting, because normally when you think of immunity hogs, it's like Terry Dietz or Ozzy, and then this season it's freaking Monica. And I actually am really...
Yeah, Culpepper.
Well, I'm glad you guys mentioned Monica, because at the beginning of this season, she was getting a really strong edit, but now I feel like she's almost invisible, and it's reminding me a lot of Sherry's edit last season. Michael, what do you think of Monica's edit?
That seems fitting that she gets this a lot more in the forefront, but that she's almost disappeared, which could be really good for her because they're trying to not play her up, and I think with the way they're doing the editing this season, that could mean she does really well.
I don't know, maybe regarding the Sherry thing, now that you brought it up, Sherry had Shamar in the pre-merge, who was sort of the I guess I would say the drag on the tribe. And Monica's connection was to Brad, who was considered, I guess for lack of a better word, the drag on Satana, from the sense of strategic and personal standpoints. And I don't know, maybe that's a parallel of some sort, but, I think Monica's edit disappearance is a little telling, because not only has her edit itself been disappearing, but nobody's really talked about her in anything. Like, the most we got about her tonight was that Tyson said to Sierra that he had Jervis and Monica's votes, and that was it. Like, that was all we got about her.
Why didn't they go to Monica, Hayden, and Caleb and try to flip her and be like, look, you're... and I think going into the preview they might do this, but it didn't show them going to her at all, saying like, hey, you know what, you're at the bottom, and Sierra's flipping there with them. So here's a chance for you to make a big move to put on your resume.
I think with Monica, they know she's already so paranoid that they don't want to rile her up anymore. Because if it's like, hey, you're on the bottom of this group too, so you need to come with us, you never know what Monica's
I think her whole paranoia thing was played up in the editing because everyone's paranoid.
Yeah.
That just fit the storyline with her and like Kat getting voted out and stuff.
Well, with her being so paranoid, though, that kind of reminds me of almost Sherry's kind of slightly more negative edit towards the end.
That could be coming up, yeah.
I think there's a difference between complete negativity and paranoia, where at the final tribal council in Karamoan, people just, essentially they laid into Sherry saying she did nothing. And they didn't even exhibit Sherry having any signs of paranoia. The only real time she was a decoy boot, from what I remember, was at the Merge Tribal when it was between her and Corinne. But other than that, we never really saw Sherry in any trouble. And
we can debate Sherry's game and everything. I just think she played the final tribal council wrong, trying to take credit for things she didn't do.
Right.
When instead going with like, hey, I defy the odds. I'm the last man standing, and I didn't do it just by luck. I'm here because of my own merits, not whatever. But that's last season.
Which, I have to say, if we're going to be talking about last season, we need to mention how the editing last season was completely god-awful, and half of our podcast was spent going, so how's Cochran going to win?
Philip is taking up all the screen time, right?
Yeah. It's like, oh, look, Brandon's doing stuff, and Cochran's got good at it. Oh, look, Malcolm's doing stuff, and Cochran's getting a good at it.
Like,
so at least this season, it's...
I am one of I am one of Cochran's staunchest supporters, and even I thought the overkill of his edit last season was bad.
Well, Michael,
I-
Michael, as a longtime Survivor fan, what have you been thinking about this season's editing in particular compared to the last couple seasons?
Well, I'm not a real like. I mean, I'm aware of the editing. It's not something I like scrutinize to know like all the terminology for the different types of players and all that. But I think it's a little more. It's not as well defined and it's harder to read, which I appreciate because from heroes versus villains on it, every episode felt really predictable. The promos are always like something will happen that's never happened before, and then you watch the episode and it's something that's happened like 10 times. So I like
This-
I like not being exactly sure what's going on, and that's helpful as a fan, and especially knowing kind of from talking to cast what the end is going to be. So it's neat seeing that journey there. So.
Well, my favorite example of the editing going too far was in South Pacific. It was like, which player is going to ask to be voted out? Then it cut to Ozzy going, hey, you guys just send me to Redemption Island. Then it's like, will they do it? Then it showed Tribal Council, and then Ozzy was standing up. Then it was like, a player will ask to be sent to Redemption Island. Then it was like, Ozzy, the tribe has spoken.
Yeah,
What will happen tonight on
That's
Survivor?
been a big issue this season. The whole CBS is like spoiling themselves worse than ever. And I have noticed that when I'm trying to admin previously on Survivor, we've had to be real careful with what is deemed a spoiler or not because of what CBS is putting out themselves.
Well, I know CBS put the Aris Ponderosa video out early. Did they put the Vetus one out early?
No, but they did have press pictures of Vetus. I think it was either having his buff burnt or sitting on the bench. And then they also had Caleb's torch being snuffed, Monica wearing her immunity necklace. So they put out all the stops this episode.
They see what I was talking to Colin before the podcast was I don't think the Survivor production is the same one as like the CBS PR people, and they just get shit handed to them. They just throw it on the internet or whatever, not knowing that it's like really spoiling. So I avoid CBS.com before the episode.
If the ratings decline that's been gradually happening since the beginning, they may intentionally want PR doing that to get the casual people like watching it. It just pisses off the old time fans that can figure out that stuff and be like, "Oh my God, they're telling us exactly what's happening."
I skulk the Facebook page, and it's very interesting to see the casual fan reactions. Where today they posted the Redemption Island thing. It says 2 moms into Vetus, and all these Facebook fans were rabidly supporting Vetus because he's the only man against 2 moms. They called him an underdog, which sort of baffled me because he's a very strong guy against. Admittedly, Laura is very, she's proven herself won 2 individual immunities in Samoa before they booted her.
We talked about it before. We figured that it would be Artis and Vetus trying to get back in the game. And Artis boom, Vetus boom.
Yeah. Well, I feel like we've touched on virtually everything about this episode except for one key detail, which was Tyson did play his community idol. Is this going to break trust with everyone because Tyson has not told Jervis about it? Tyson has not told Monica about it? Is this going to make them more likely to flip on Tyson? Like we saw the preview for the next episode, Jervis is going, what move do I need to make? Michael, I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Because Tyson didn't tell anyone about the idol.
I think that's going to really hurt his gameplay. I thought he was cocky at the immunity challenge with the food. I think the idol was extremely cocky. It took him I'd imagine how long in real time it took for him to pull that idol out. It was probably even longer than it was on the show. If you're playing your idol, put that stuff towards the top.
Right.
But, I think it's gonna really hurt him. I don't know why he even did it. If it was gonna be there was no votes coming his way, it was either gonna be Caleb or Sierra.
That was what bothered me too. I'm not a fan of Tyson. Long story short, but you don't try to antagonize the people who are going to be voted out. Be like, oh, where's my idol? Oh, it's in his bag somewhere. Let me rummage around through it.
Let me go back and explain though, and that there was a brief thing about it, which Tyson and Jervis were talking about. Well, what if everyone's trying to pull one over on us, trying to get us to throw our votes to Sierra, and then they vote me out?
Oh yeah.
Because they were thinking that they just wanted misdirection, throwing their votes away. And so he was worried about that. He didn't want to go out with an idol. But one of the biggest decisions is making an idol, and having it being a secret is I'm going to look like a huge ass if I don't get voted out votes.
But
And
about
Well,
not
that's
showing it to anyone, he doesn't prove his ultimate loyalty to any of them. I know he's trying to, keep them all as his number two, but you got to show somebody the idol.
well, that's
Someone
why
to build trust.
I'm surprised he didn't tell at least Monica and Jervis he was playing the idol like right beforehand. Like, listen, I found the idol and I'm gonna play it tonight. So that way he would save some semblance of trust between them, so they're not completely blindsided when he played the idol.
yeah, he should have told them right before. And I'm sure Monica would have been, oh, that's cool, and then
Yeah.
whatever.
Or he could have even buried it and pretended to find it or something, pulled a coach in Survivor South Pacific.
I don't know, but yeah, I mean, the backlash even goes into the next episode with Hayden standing up in the preview saying, if you all want second place, take this guy to the end.
Mm-hmm.
Which I've been dying for someone to say that.
Me too.
Actually, Colin, that sounds like you.
Because I've given that speech before. No one ever listens to you when you give that speech, but then when that person wins, you can go, ha ha ha, I told you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. In the words of Cassandra Franklin. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just don't take Alicia to the end because she's going to beat you all. What happens?
No, Colin, you don't know what you're talking about. So, with that being said, are there any final thoughts? Are there any last little statements anyone would like to make about tonight's episode?
I was glad it wasn't a recap.
Yes, thank God it wasn't a recap. Tomorrow is Thanksgiving. Oh, and that reminds me, we do need to all say what we're thankful for at the end of this, but we'll do that later. But yes, thank God it wasn't a recap.
We should do predictions.
We should also do prediction. Okay, Steven, do you have anything else you would like to throw in there?
I think everything that has been. I think everything is I think everything that is needed to be aired out has been aired out.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing how much better we or how quicker we go through things when we have a much smaller cast. Because, Michael, I don't know if you know this, but normally we have about 3 more people on the show.
Well, I'm glad Big Mike can step in for 2 people.
Yes, thank you. You're taking the place of...
Well, the thing is, you're a minority, our woman, and our evil villain.
Oh, yeah.
I'm here to do what I can.
And we appreciate having you on. But yeah, let's get to some predictions. Patrick, who's going to win?
Okay. Honestly, what I kind of think is going to happen is either Katie or Hayden gets voted out next. Probably Hayden. He wins his way back into the game at, what is it, the Final 4, Final 5 that they do that?
Yeah, they come back at the Final 4 and they're the 5th person.
He wins immunity, gets out with Monica, Jervis, and Tyson if they're dumb in the Final 3. With, I don't know who. I mean, I'm going to stick with Monica because that's what I said at the beginning of the season. And I'm stubborn.
Okay. Steven, what do you think?
I'm going to say, as much as I love her, I think our fabulous hermit crab, toeless goddess known as Katie, will be going home next week. Or going to Redemption Island, pardon me. And as much as I'd love to stick with my pick for Sierra to win, which I'm going to have to officially, I don't see her making it too much further. My winner pick, as much as it pains me to say it, realistically is probably Tyson. And it hurts my soul to say that, but yeah.
Michael, I would love to hear from you.
The new people they're gonna be gone. Whatever the order of 6, 5, and 4, barring Redemption Island, bringing somebody back, I think they're gonna be gone. I would guess then Hayden, then Sierra, but we'll see. And then I think it's gonna be Monica and Jerv and Tyson at the end. And I think Jervis is playing his Borneo game of just being, everyone's friend, but not coming off as a strategist. I think he's going to be perceived as not being the cutthroat one that got rid of everybody. So I think Jervis is going to win.
And I have to say, Michael, my prediction is very similar to yours. I think what's happening right now with the editing is Tyson is being shown as how he lost the game. Very similar to how Coach's edit in South Pacific was how he lost the game. And I feel like Tyson... with the little things he's been doing and the little sarcastic undertones, like you see Tyson make a joke, but then you see a shot of people not reacting to it very well. So I think that's showing that, they're not really that big of Tyson's fans. So I think Tyson's story is going to be how he got 2 votes at Final Tribal Council compared to Jervis's, 7 or whatever.
Yeah. Could this be a heroes versus villains where you have the big villain and then their sidekick losing to the person that just got by to the end? And wins.
Patrick, that's a fair assessment. I mean, Sandra had like 4 or 5 episodes where she didn't get a single confessional in Heroes versus Villains. So
Yeah.
that's a very logical, conclusion to come to.
And she did. She had some John Cochran moments at the beginning of the season when she was getting that strong edit. Like, she had some confessionals that were like, oh, that sounds like something Cochran said last season.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, guys. I could be winning Five Guys.
You could be winning the Five Guys. Yes, Michael, with our podcast, at the beginning of the season, everyone picked a player, and the winner would get a $5 gift card to Five Guys Burgers and Fries in honor of Brad Culpepper's Five Guys Alliance. And I am out with Aris. Ty is now out with Vetus, which I'm assuming that's why Ty couldn't come on tonight, because he was so upset.
Heartbroken.
Yeah, about Vetus losing.
So Alicia still has Tina.
Alicia does still have Tina, and I have no idea who Jack picked, because I
thought he picked
listen to
Tyson,
Jack.
but
I
I'm
think he
not
picked
sure.
Brenda.
He did. He picked Brenda. Hashtag Bender's booty.
Brenda and her fetus.
All right, well, everyone, thank you so much for listening.
Thankful.
And thanks
You gotta be
again
thankful.
to...
What are we thankful for?
Oh, yeah, shit. What are we thankful for? Patrick, what are you thankful for?
Bacardi.
Bacardi. Steven, what are you thankful for?
Oh, God. Not a good tappy. Friends, family, Survivor, and M&M's.
And M&M's. Michael, what are you thankful for?
Seeing my family and having some time off and more time to play Mario Kart 64. So.
Yes.
Mario Kart 64, that's good. I am thankful for Survivor, Yingling, and Otis's barks.
And my burps.
And Patrick's wonderful burps. And once again, everyone, thank you so much for listening.
Bye.
Bye.